Start the match.
अस्सलामुअलैकुम। सुनाओ कैप्टन
Start
साहब
the
की हाल चाल
match.
ने? जी शुक्र अल्लाह, तुम सुनाओ। मतलब की कर रहे हो आजकल? ਉਹ ਯਾਰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹ ਦੁਪਹਿਰੇ ਨੈਟ ਦਾ ਮਸਲਾ ਸੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕਿਹਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਯਾਰ ਸੈਟਿੰਗ ਕਰ ਨੈਟ ਦੀ, ਗੇਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਖੇਡ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ। ਉਹਨੇ ਫਿਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਠੀਕ ਕੀਤਾ, ਹੁਣ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਆਉਂਦੀ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣਾਓ ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਚਾਲ ਹੈ? ਲਾਈਵ ਹੋ? ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਲਾਈਵ ਹੋ? ਲਾਈਵ ਹੋ? ਹੁਣ ਕੀ ਖੇਡ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਹਾਂ। ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਨੋਟੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਨਾਲ ਸਿਰਫ। ਨਾਲੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਨੂੰ ਅਚੀਵਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਨਾ। ਕੀ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਹੁਣ? ਜੈਰੀ ਰੂਮ ਖੇਲਣਾ ਵਾ? ਵਿਹਲੀ ਯਾਰ, ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਨੇ। ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਇਕੱਲਾ ਹੀ ਖੇਡਣ ਡਿਆ, ਮੈਂ ਤਿੰਨ ਚਾਰ ਦਿਨ ਚ ਗੱਲ ਕੱਢ ਲਿਆ ਲਈ ਕਿਤੇ। ਇਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਯਾਰ, ਬਹੁਤ ਬਸ ਥੋੜੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਲਿਵਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿੱਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, 20 27 25। ਉੱਤੋਂ ਥੱਲੋਂ ਫੜੋ, ਥੱਲੋਂ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਫੜੋ, ਫੜ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਬੰਦਾ। ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ। ਬੰਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਐਕਸਪੈਕਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਯਾਰ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਐਕਸਪੈਕਟਿੰਗ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਰਦੇ? ਇਹਨੇ ਖੇਡਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਰੂਮ ਆਫਲਾਈਨ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਠੰਡਾ ਕਰਾਓ। ਰੈਂਡਮ ਹੀ ਆਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ, ਇਹ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਯਾਰ ਸੀ? ਕੋਈ ਗਾਲੀ ਗਲੋਚ ਨੂੰ ਬੜੇ ਜਾਣੇ। ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੋਵੇਂ ਰੂਮ ਖੇਡਨੇ M4 ਦਾ, ਅਰਸਾ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਚੱਲਾ, ਰੂਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੇਡਿਆ M4। ਨਹੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੇਮ ਹੈ, ਇੰਨੇ ਇੰਨੀ ਕਿਹੜਾ। ਨਾਲੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਡਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁੱਟਦੇ ਹੋ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤਾਂ ਲਾਈਵ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਲਾਈਵ ਤੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਕੁੱਟ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਅਗਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕੁੱਟੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਫਾਂਡਾ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਚੰਗਾ। ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿੰਨੀ ਦਫਾ ਜਿੱਤੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ? ਨਾਲੇ ਆਈਪੈਡ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ, ਆਈਪੈਡ ਆਈਪੈਡ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਕਰੋ ਨਾ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਮੋਬਾਇਲ ਤੇ ਉਂਗਲੀਆਂ ਚਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਆਈਪੈਡ ਤੇ ਚਲਾਓ ਨਾ, ਬੜੀ ਗੇਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਯਾਰ। ਮੈਂ ਕਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਹੱਥ ਸੈੱਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਵਾ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਚੰਗੀਆਂ ਤੇਜ਼ ਉਂਗਲਾਂ ਚੱਲਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾਲ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵਾ ਨਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਗੇਮ, ਉਹ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਹੈਰਾਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਚਾਰ ਉਂਗਲਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਖੇਡ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਤੂੰ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ। ਕੱਲ ਫੈਸਲਾਬਾਦ ਗਿਆ, ਕੱਲ ਪਰਸੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਪਰਸੋਂ ਫੈਸਲਾਬਾਦ ਗਿਆ, ਫੈਸਲਾਬਾਦ ਡੁੱਬਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਸਾਰੇ, ਬੜਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਖਲੋਤਾ ਸੀ। ਮੇਰੀ 3 ਤੋਂ 4 ਦਫਾ ਮੋਟਰਸਾਈਕਲ ਦੁਪਹਿਰੇ ਬੰਦ ਹੋਈ, ਫਿਰ ਸ਼ਾਮੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਇਲ ਲੈਣ ਗਿਆ ਪੋਰਟ ਦੀ। ਉਹ ਯਾਰ ਆ ਕੌਣ ਤੰਗ ਕਰਨ ਦਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਅਨਫਰੈਂਡ ਮਾਰਨਾ।
Let's play a different mode.
ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਉੱਠ ਗਿਆ।
Let's play a different mode.
ਉਸਤਾਦ ਜੀ ਇਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਮੈਂ
Let's
ਅਨਫਰੈਂਡ,
play a different mode.
ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਅਨਫਰੈਂਡ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਰਨ
Let's
ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼
play
ਕਰਦਾ
a
ਹਾਂ, ਬੰਦਾ
different
ਗਾਇਬ ਹੋ
mode.
ਜਾਂਦਾ ਲਿਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ। ਉਹਨੇ ਕਸਟਮ ਮਾਰਦਾ ਹੋਏ।
Let's play a different mode.
ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਅਨਫਰੈਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ। ਜੀ ਮੈਚ ਮੂਚ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰੋ, ਕੋਈ ਆਰਪੀ ਕਰੋ। ਐਂਗਲ ਔਰ ਉਂਗਲ ਲਾਓ ਕੋਈ ਯਾਰ, ਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਾਈਏ ਸਾਡਾ। ਤੁਹਾਡੀ 60 ਆਰਪੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ। ਮੇਰਾ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਪਿਆ, ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਥੈਲੇ ਨਾਲ ਟੀਮਮੇਟ ਦੀ ਪਾਵਰਫੁਲ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਵੀ ਪਿਆ ਵਾ, 10 ਦਫਾ ਰਿਵਾਈਵ ਹੋਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਵੀ ਪਿਆ ਵਾ। ਉਹਨੇ ਰੈਂਕ ਲਾਓਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਓਗੇ। ਡਰ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ। ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ 16 ਪ੍ਰੋ ਮੈਕਸ, ਉਸਤਾਦ ਜੀ 16 ਪ੍ਰੋ ਮੈਕਸ ਸੇਲ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਵਾ, 3 ਲੱਖ 3.25 ਲੱਖ ਦਾ, 3,15,000 ਦਾ ਡੱਬਾ ਨਾਲ, ਕੇਬਲ ਨਾਲ, 256 GB, ਲੇਜ਼ਰ ਟਾਈਟੇਨੀਅਮ ਕਲਰ। ਆਹੋ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਵਰਲਡ ਕੱਪ। ਓਏ ਟੋਪ ਤੇ ਫਲਕ ਹੀ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਵਾ ਹੋਰ ਫਲਕ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਕੱਚੀ ਉਮਰ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਇੰਨਾ ਭਾਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹਨੇ ਨੱਥ ਪਾਈ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਪੂਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਪਲੇਅਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਯਾਰ ਰਹਿਣ ਦੋ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਆ ਖੇਡੀਏ ਦੇ ਦੱਸ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਚੌਥਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਵਾ ਵੋਟ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਫੇਰ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬੋਝ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਵੋਟ ਪਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਵੋਟ ਪਵਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬਗਰ ਲੱਗ ਹੀ ਨਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਯਾਰ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਛੱਡੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਈਵ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ ਤੇ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਲਾਈਵ ਤੇ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਬਜੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਲਾਈਵ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰੀਏ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਰਤਾ ਵਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਅੱਗੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਅਜੇ ਮੈਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਹੋਇਆ यार मेरे को नजर ही नहीं आ रहा और स्क्रीन पे काला जैसा घूम जा रहा है 2025 यार पार्टी कितना देखना है
Falcons flying high for the last Erangel of the day for day number 1 of the grand finals and looking to be one step closer towards that trophy. Joining me, Neptura, as well as Seven to talk about this game. Neptura, Falcons had a good compound and they were able to play it out nicely in the end.
Finally, it's about time we see something from the Falcons. Dare I say I want to see a little bit more. I wasn't entirely pleased with how that game went, but they got the win. That's what they needed to do. Fair enough, right? I did like how they played some of those things. I want to start off by saying that initial push onto Fireflux rather was the wrong play, and I thought that. I was like, no, you need to be looking at E-Arena. They did in the end on the circle shift. They were able to take them out completely. That frees up the north side of the zone, really able to then do what they want. I will say Hora really tried their best, some really nice controlling angles that they got there, but I think Narvalo in particular able to have that off angle really helped. For me, the Falcons, I think that they should have done a little bit more. They still played a little bit too defensively, but in the end, they started to split off a little bit. It was much better.
Well, here's the head-to-head brought to you by the Saudi National Bank team. Falcons versus Horror from this previous game. Horror doing quite a bit of work, doing quite a lot of damage here, 7 overall, but not quite able to keep up with Team Falcons, mainly thanks to that circle shift towards the end.
Yeah, Team Falcons having that circle.
कोई भी नहीं पिया हजे नहीं मैच स्टार्ट है आ जाओ यार बाहर आ जाओ चलिए स्टार्ट करो मैच की हाइड करना ये कौन BWP हजे हजे नहीं ना बोर्ड वाला बाबा कुछ नहीं इमर तो पहले नंबर ते या किनवे नंबर ते अच्छा अच्छा हाँ जी ग्रैंड फाइनल हाँ वॉइस से क्लिक करता 40 मेरी तो काले काले स्क्रीन आ रही है
Because right now it's just full go whenever they do end up pushing, and you can see Young Galacticos with that play doing just enough, being in first place.
Just 11 points between number 1 and 8th. But yes, as you say, Yangon Galacticos being able to wrestle away number 1 from Alter Ego is definitely a big move. What are you laughing at? What's wrong?
I just find it insane that we are in the grand finals of PNWC at EWC 25. A Power Esports somehow has managed to find themselves.
Power that they're showing, and this isn't the power that I saw in the group stage. I was like, okay, they're sitting pretty, they're waiting, they're sitting in Milta, they're moving out and getting themselves a win, a slow win as it were, but they're just all guns blazing at the moment. I'm sure it's crazy.
They really are. I think it goes to show again that sometimes going to survival stage is incredibly beneficial. They've had those 2 extra days to really get their stride, get that momentum going, and now look at them.
Definitely impressive stuff. We'll see if this can continue. Imagine if they finished it with just no place of points for like 90 limbs.
Please do that. That's what I want. That'll be me unboxing a surprise.
You'd be very excited. And let's all unbox together because PUBG Mobile Airdrop Carnival is now live. Don't miss out the final 3 days this weekend. Log in to summon your supply airdrop and collect 2025 airdrop vouchers for your chance to win official merch, smartphones, BD partner rewards, permanent in-game items, and more. Every participate is guaranteed rewards. So come and get those unboxings done. All these players, they can't unbox right now because they're ready to get into Miramar. So without further ado, thank you very much, guys. It is time to head over to the Dusty Dunes. It's Miramar. Let's get it for the penultimate game of the day. Falcons are able to rise again with a chicken dinner in match number 4 on the day, but they need to keep pace now. Try not to swallow the water next time. But either way, they are going to have to try and keep pace with the top page because they have managed to breach there. But, you know, Power currently no placement points, still ahead of them, right? There's a little bit more to do. And if you want to keep track of exactly what every single one of our players is doing during the PMWC, you can on our official map feed on the PUBG Mobile esports channel. You can see where everybody's rotating all the time, all day. It is useful if you want to break things down, if you want to get a little insight as to what teams are doing at every step of the match.
That's it, isn't it? Well, hey, we're getting into it, Miramar, and you mentioned Falcons, but I love what the desk said about Power. It's insane how high up the standings they are purely based off of eliminations, and you do raise the question, they start getting placed.
Matches to play today. Getting anything over 50 points will be great news. I mean, the biggest games that we've seen, or days rather, that we've seen for teams like Nongshim Red Force, I think they were able to get over 60 points in a single day.
That's right.
So getting up there would be phenomenal. But the fact is, this table is looking really flat. You can guarantee that there's going to be a little bit more volatility towards the top side of these tables with how close things are. I mean, from first place down towards, getting on towards 8th, right? There's an 11-point difference. That's really closable, especially in these stages of the tournament where teams are able to take those risks. That's one big game, and all of a sudden, you're on the top of the pile.
Well, to put it in perspective, what Falcons, I believe, was in 14th or so place going into that last game. They end up getting the winner chicken dinner, 12 eliminations, putting them all the way up in top 6. And mind you, they are only just 3 points away from breaking into top 3. That's how close it is. So a lot of volatility. Things are going to continue to shift within our top 5. And, well, with Alpha 7 not being here, the championship is wide open. Anybody can take it. The question is, who wants it the most? The players themselves are the ones that control their destiny. Map number 5, we're heading into Miramar. Where are we going?
Playing path on the south side this time around, from Valle de Mar over towards Impala. So north entrance a little bit difficult, also potentially tricky to get towards. Of course, now uncontested because Alpha 7 did so badly that they weren't able to make it into but that western path rotate can be nice and friendly. It's a question of getting those vehicles on side, though, as we head on in. Our plane now just crossing Chumasera.
Don't think we're going to have any hot drops, at least based off of where I believe these teams are going to be landing for our first Miramar in Grand Finals of Day 1. But there is always a chance, right? Things get spicy. Even though people put their landing zones out there, doesn't mean they're not willing to change it up and take a team by surprise. And, well, that could very well happen. I believe going even back to the survival stage, we had a bit of a hot drop over in El Pozo. That was an area that we were watching very, very closely. So maybe we see a repeat of that. Falcons over on the left-hand side by Hora. That's going to be an interesting one if they decide to land next to each other. Very curious where this next zone, or first zone,
right now. West Coast, though, could be Falcons getting spotted.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Falcons, Hora, well, they're relatively close to each other. Obviously trying to land on those vehicles so they can have them for rotates, maybe even overtaking high ground a little bit later on, but they do separate themselves. Always gets concerned when I start to see some split drops, and at least coming into this, I was expecting at least 3 split drops, which we do get a couple of them. The Falcons by far taking the cake with Ralph all the way in the south, forced to go up north to join Narvalo and Koa, which he's going to be doing exactly that. Horner, though, not far behind necessarily. I'm curious if they decide to challenge the solo of Ralph, that they choose to get spicy.
I don't think this is a good idea. If Oro want to head up towards the north, I wouldn't be surprised to see them send all the way to a place like Cobraria, currently unoccupied. I think chasing down the solo, if they can get the shots, sure, but if Ralph can get over towards El Pozo as soon as he goes in, I don't think if you're Oro, you want to commit here, right? And the fact is that there's about 600, 700 meters between these two teams. I don't think that they're going to be able to catch this one. But I think heading up to La Cobraria on a circle like this is potentially a little bit better of a decision to make, right? In this scenario, you'll be up on that north side. You know not too many teams are going to be there. You'll be out early over towards that north side on a circle like this, and they're going to be able to find it. Okay, hang on a minute. Maybe they are going to try and clip the back of Falcons, but yeah, I don't rate the decision to chase this one down.
Right.
You don't want hot drops, right?
Right.
Sure, you might be able to pick up a point early.
Oh, they're close.
Narvalo actually, who's already had some looting time, might actually take some shots out.
He should.
This is why you don't want to pursue too far.
Oh, gets a little bit of damage onto Jiggle, but not enough to drop him. If Hora was wanting to pursue Falcons, I believe those shots ringing out is going to change their minds, and they'll continue to go up north. And for Falcons, they'll continue to distance themselves, go towards El Pozo, and loot up. So this fight most likely not going to happen anymore. Maybe Hora was thinking about it, but the shots were enough to deter them. Now we start to look more into the stage, and Noxum Red Force, great spot central. We also have Alter Egos, who are set up quite nicely. They've got the 2-2 split, plenty of loot between them. And I think Alter Egos are due for a pretty decent game. I'm kind of feeling, I don't know, my senses are telling me Alter Egos, this is their game to take.
Now what's going to happen is Power are going to get a chicken dinner with 0 elims.
Oh, show 0 elims?
Yeah, then anyone looking at the table would be like, oh, that's a normal amount. But no, it'll be the weirdest 10 to 30 split you've ever seen in your life.
That's right.
Goodness me. No, I'm not entirely sure, of course. There's still 16 teams, 64 players who are in this one. However, Power are in a very central location on this, just out to the east of Hacienda del Patron, with Thunder Talk out to their further east as well. They're in a nice little compound and they can chill out for the time being. We're up to about 5 minutes now, which means looting phase should be over for a lot of the teams that hit ground early. So teams like Power, who dropped Ricardo, they should be done and dusted. However, teams like Aura and Falcons, they're going to be out and looting for a little bit longer, maybe up to minute 6, 7 potentially, if Aura actually don't settle down.
Yeah, they are moving and grooving. The good thing for them, the entire northern zone of this stage is wide open, including those hilltops that they can take over if they so decide. I do start to look towards Fireflux, however. Regnum Caria, E-Arena, Team Secret, relatively close, and DRX is getting very close to E-Arena, mind you. They are pushing straight in. You notice on your screen top left, there will be an E-Arena member. If DRX keep their head on a swivel, they might start taking some shots, taking some damage.
Looks like they're going to keep things nice and linear. A nice spread out train. Good spacing for DRX on their rotate. Keep on the southeast flank. And of course, we always advise against all rotating in the same vehicle, especially early and especially on Miramar. Getting spotted out can be disastrous. So taking this 4-player convoy is exactly how you want to be operating. If you guys at home are trying to pick up some tips, that's a good one. Early on, playing split, you're very, very mobile. You're a little bit more flexible. And that's what DRX are looking for as they head to the east of Minas Generalis, up towards potentially where Alter Ego and Team Secret are playing.
And also for Fourth Rives in the same path as Ida as they continue to move up north. So we take a look at Yangon Galacticus, a team that has been performing incredibly well, currently first place off the back of a
भाईजान की हाल है यार लगी मैच फाइनल किसी टूर्नामेंट ਦਾ ਨਾ PUBG ਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਈਕਲ ਚਲਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਵੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ अच्छा लेकिन मेरे को टिकटॉक पे लाइव आया हुआ है PUBG ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਾਈਵ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚਲਾਣਾ ਆਂਦਾ तो मैं
हाँ जी उस्ताद जी की होया जी
हेलो
हाँ जी
भैया
जी भैया जी जी
और सब खैरियत सारे बनाल दे कैप्टन सारे ठीक ने
हाँ जी सब ठीक ने माशाल्लाह
फिर भी आज सब मेरा वीकेंड स्टार्ट हो गया है कल ते परसों की छुट्टी हैगी
ठीक है
ਤੇ PUBG ਹੈ ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ 2 ਦਿਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਨਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਉਹ ਬਾਸ਼ੋ ਆਰਪੀ ਵਧਾਵਾਂਗੇ 2 ਦਿਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ
मैं रात ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਖੇਡੇਗਾ ਨਾ ਫਿਰ ਥੋੜੀ ਦੇਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਖੇਡੀ
ਹਾਂ ਚਲੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟਾਂ ਤੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਪਲੇਅਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਈਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਨਕਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ
सर शुक्रिया मोहब्बत मोहब्बत राणा साहब यही मोहब्बत है भाई सारी यही मोहब्बत है
ਭਾਈਜਾਨ ਠੀਕ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ 11 ਵਜੇ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਫਜਰ ਤੱਕ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਆ
अल्लाह खैर
ਸੋਵਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ 11 ਵਜੇ ਦਿਨੇ ਉੱਠਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਮੋਬਾਈਲ ਹੈਗਾ ਭਾਈਜਾਨ ਛੁੱਟੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਦਿਨ ਰੂਮ ਚੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਣ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦਾ
ਭਾਈਜਾਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ 11 ਵਜੇ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਹੋਣਾ ਵਾ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ 12 ਵਜੇ ਆਫਲਾਈਨ ਹੋਣਾ ਵਾ ਤੇ ਜਨਾਬ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਘੰਟਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੇ ਨਸੀਬ ਮੇਰੇ ਕਰ ਦੇਣਾ ਤੇ ਅਗਲਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ
सर जी कोई मसला नहीं है कोई मसला नहीं है जी मैं आखो मैं हाजिर
शुक्रिया शुक्रिया मबता मबता
लाओ फिर तुसी गेम
ओके 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 माफी
ओके
biding their time. Of course, these positions on these plateaus always look so powerful. The difficulty is as soon as you get knocked or as soon as you take a challenge and maybe you get a little bit too bold, you go down. It's a massive mission to try and get you back up, right? You have to either send another player up there or you have to drop down when you've already been knocked and someone has to rotate out towards you. It takes a lot of time, a lot of investment on that, so you do need to be very careful with those high ground positions.
Fireflux going to be opposite of them. Falcons continue to move up, managed to stay alive for quite some time. The only shots, the only activity we've seen from them so far was firing on Sleepy, who was on the back of a buggy, sort of started to rotate up. Aingon
Not unscathed though, and that vehicle is going to be low, as is his health bar. Navallo just putting a little bit of suppression down. They will try and maintain the outskirts here on the northern end, and they'll be okay for the time being.
Okay, for the time being, as you said, staying alive just a little bit longer. They kind of tempted fate, push into Fourth Thrives, take over the compound. Well, Fourth Thrives said, nah, it's just simply not going to work. Another zone shift is going to take place. You notice YG, Aegon Galacticus, still up in the north. They've been in blue now for, I want to say, nearly half of the game at this point, and they'll have to continue to drop down south, which is going to be right next to Falcons. So that fight most likely going to ensue. And with Falcons getting their health all the way back up, I think this is about to go down.
I think they might actually, well, it depends, yeah. If they go for that rotate out to the east, it might be a little bit less sort of considered there for Yangon Galacticos as Silas goes down on a little bowl ramp jump there. Too overexposed as DRX able to sweep that one away. So Regnum Karya down to 3 players. That's not too favorable, but they are nice and central on the circle.
Yes, they are. Nice shot from Weibo. Weibo takes down Jiggle from Hora, who unfortunately loses a player. That was one who took early damage, and Weibo, not too far behind, is going to keep Hora in their line of sights. And well, this is a team that performed exceptionally well in game number 4, performing in 2nd place, nearly taking over the Falcons' position. They couldn't hold it down. I was very impressed with No Fear, and I'm expecting him to be huge in this moment. Wild from Regnum Karya, trying to take down Alva from Alter Egos, who had plenty of great moments, but for Wild, well, he's going to fall a bit short.
Rosemary had the off angle, nothing really doing there. Regnum Karya starting to falter. Meanwhile, over on that northern side, Falcons did find a player from Yangon Galacticos, and they will have Romeo almost on full surround now. They're putting this pressure on. Redox gets that flush. Hang on a minute, no, that's Koa taking the vehicle up in flames with it. The M249 for Koa. He's going to be able to lay down that damage. Nice and healthy output there for the Falcons, and they disengage. They don't need to overextend here, and it's nice to see.
But it's also for Yangon Galacticos. I mean, there's really nowhere they can go. Forward, you got 4 Thrives waiting on you, and then if you go backwards, you got Falcons who are going to be gatekeeping you. You go down a little bit further, you got Noxum Red Force. It's going to be a tough spot for Yangon Galacticos, a team that stayed so long in the blue zone. I mentioned No Fear. Well, he's currently pinned up. Sky is just a sliver of health. Rosemary desperately trying to hit the shots, and does, as Sky gets a bit antsy, jumping up to get additional vision. Well, it ends up being his undoing.
With that Mini 14 through the window just at the right time. Excellent pre-fire there from Rosemary. Alter Ego holding the high ground here. They have such powerful position over this next circle, and they want to try and maintain that space. They're doing well with 3 players on that north flank. They've got Krypton far out on the southeast side, and that's an off angle actually with shots over towards potentially over towards Sleepy if he gets a little bit too big for his boots.
Rosemary repositioned. No Fear will stay down low. No reason to get too crazy on him. The smokes are out. Rosemary will continue to keep his head down. Himself a bit too thin, separating himself from the additional rosters, everybody else in a vehicle. So that'll be my concern. But for No Fear and Rosemary, well, No Fear tried to stay up as long as he could, but the shed, unfortunately, will be his demise.
Sook actually using the explosive arrows there, taking one of those knocks over towards Hora. He's going to be happy with that one, but Weibo currently out on that east side, have a little bit further to go here. That east side approach is really, really weird and finicky. They've got that long channel of road for Weibo to roll along on that northern side of the current circle. It spits you out with very little info, which means that they kind of need to head down south and try and put pressure on that way to approach towards Alter Ego, but that's really, really difficult in its own right? You've got Alter Ego who've been holding, we've seen how effective they are in that location. I don't think that Weibo are going to be able to get too much further here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And mind you, Falcons has also kind of got into their vicinity. Falcons have been the outskirt team, consistently gunning down players, not overcommitting, but at least having a presence, keeping them in the back of their minds are their enemies. And well, we see Suki, as you said, from Sleepy from a distance. Wait, and I know Seven is loving that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wonder if it was that the straight shot or the explosion that got him though. I have to double check. We'll get the analysts on that one, breaking down the clip. That was kind of nuts though. You'd love to see it. Sook seems to be, you know, this proponent of
Legolas
of the bow and arrow. He loves it. Yeah, he loves it.
You know, it's funny, when I was doing my research coming into this, Seven specifically brought him up and said explosive arrows. Watch him with the bow. Let's watch Order now as they go for the challenge onto Falcons. Rosemary has him pinned in between. And Rosemary is a guy I do not want on my backside. He is truly devastating. We've witnessed it just a little bit earlier on Hora Esports. Now he can do it on Falcons. But Order cooking the nade, throws it out. Is it good? Well, a little bit of damage on Narvalo. Redux will answer back with his own, but it doesn't have an area effect. And Redux is very weak. Order is taking on 2 members from Falcons and doing it in sensational fashion.
They have that back flank as well from Rosemary. Anita is feet, and Ralph and Redux both fall one after the other. The forward position and the middle spot for the Falcons both going down, and it looks like Weibo are actually going to be able to break through this one with Narvalo falling. There's only one player now left standing, and Suka's on the hunt.
And I wonder if APG starts to get active in this fight too, because Doc is getting dangerously close. There's Order from a distance, trying to take down Avila, but can't do it. He backs away for the meantime. Still a chance Falcons can maybe recover with the duo in this moment, but the pressure from Weibo is unrelenting. Koa, the tip of the spear, to try maybe get a couple of shots on the Order. Again, you can't really go back because you got Alter Egos, who's going to be just behind you with Alva. You also got Weibo starting to push in, and the attack is true, but Order will fall. Sook jumps out. Koa's going to be down. Can Sook pull off the hat trick?
It's Narvalo up against them. He can clutch these. We've seen it before. And Weibo are low. It's just Sook. And around the edge with a Scar goes for the spray down, but the heel is there. And Narvalo now at a disadvantage.
Oh!
Takes the corner, takes the fight. And once more, Narvalo survives out in the edge of the zone, eliminating Weibo.
All right, the question is, can he get his teammate back into the fight? Where is his downed mate? Is it just behind him? You'd have to think so. There it is. That's going to be Koa. Getting Koa back in this fight would be huge. Meanwhile, APG starts to move in. Koa's been finished, and Narvalo once again has to take on the entirety of another roster. This time, a 1v4. Reapus with that off angle. I think this is probably going to be the end. Plus, you got Alva, who's going to be looking dead at you. Narvalo in dire straits. If he can somehow
going down very, very quickly, and that's a third as well. Oh no, this is nasty news for the team at the bottom of the tables as well. Oh dear, that's 2 players now remain for them. And this crash is going quite well for Fireflux to regroup on this spot. Tony K, Joker, that's another one sent on in, and Scarface handles business. This is what we've been waiting to see from Fireflux today. They were highly performant in the survival stages, and that is what we've been looking out for.
And Solus with the M249 shooting the bodies. Fireflux has awoken from their slumber, and they've got a great spot in the current. Same narrative for me for Yangon.
A lot of investment on that, so you do need to be very careful with those high ground positions.
Fireflux going to be opposite of them. Falcons continue to move up. Managed to stay alive for quite some time. The only shots, okay, for the time being, as you said, staying alive just a little bit longer. They kind of tempted fate, push into Fourth Thrives, take over the compound. Well, Fourth Thrives said, nah, it's just simply not going to work. Another zone shift is going to take place. You notice YG, Yangon Galacticus, still up in the north. They've been in blue now for, I want to say, nearly half of the game at this point, and they'll have to continue to drop down south, which is going to be right next to Falcons. So that fight most likely going to ensue. And with Falcons getting their health all the way back up, I think this is about to go down.
I think they might actually, well, it depends, yeah. If they go for that rotate out to the east, it might be a little bit less sort of considered there for Yangon Galacticos as Silas goes down on a little bowl ramp jump there. Too overexposed as DRX able to sweep that one away.
Backwards, you got Falcons who are no reason
on that way to approach towards Alter Ego, but that's really, really difficult in its own right.
And well, we see Suki, as you said, from Sleepy, from
of the bow and arrow. He loves it.
Yeah,
he loves it.
You know, it's funny, when I was doing my research coming into this, Seven specifically brought him up and said explosive arrows. Watch him with the bow. Let's watch Order now as they go for the challenge onto Falcons. Rosemary has him pinned in between, and Rosemary is a guy I do not want on my backside. He is truly devastating. We've witnessed it just a little bit earlier on Hora Esports. Now he can do it on Falcons, but Order cooking the nade, throws it out. Is it good? Well, a little bit of damage on Narvalo. Redux will answer back with his own, but it doesn't have an area effect, and Redux is very weak. Order is taking on 2 members from Falcons and doing it in sensational fashion.
They have that back flank as well from Rosemary. Anita is feet, and Ralph and Redux both fall standing, and Suka's on the
meantime. Again, you can't really. Colin's going to be down. Can Suk pull off the hat trick?
It's Narvalo up against them. He can clutch these. We've seen it before. And way below, it's just Suk, and around the edge of the zone, eliminates.
Koa back in this fight would be huge. Arephus with that off angle. I think this is probably going to be the end. Plus, you got Alpha, who's going to be looking dead edge. Effort. I felt Falcons from the start to the finish never really truly had a home, never truly had a legitimate route to stay safe. They were putting a lot of pressure on teams, but they were never able to establish themselves in a specific area and play for late game. That's just the way it goes.
Just getting word that I lied. I lied to you.
Well, let's see what ends up happening. The pickup might be able to come through. We mentioned Loxy as well, right? From Ragnum Karya. He's going to be potentially devastating. As well as Loxy from Ragnum Karya. They're going to be pincering in this DRX roster. Looks to be a beautiful nade. I believe it does connect just a little bit. Here comes DRX.
SayCloud has a brilliant away from Hyunbin. That is what SayCloud is playing on. So Hyunbin flexing down this way. I really like this idea. Loxy should be taken care of by the blue zone. That will just sort of conclude itself here.
Yep.
And SayCloud, sure, he might have the sideline swipe, but the center of the circle is still under control for DRX. And they do manage to keep things together, right? It's not going to get too spicy out here in the open, and he will fall down. DRX closes down. A little bit quiet on that one, but points are points are points, and they will take those 10 placements, add them to their tally, and they'll be up there with the rest of them at the top of the tables.
Without a doubt, DRX, just like Power's been eliminating, right, and getting all their elimination points, basically securing top 5 just off of that. DRX has done a phenomenal job in the placings, 4th place in game game number 1. 10th place in second. They fall down a little bit, but second place in third, or the fourth game, I should say, and then third place in the fifth, and then, of course, first place coming out right before your eyes. Beautiful job from DRX. Highly consistent in the podium category. That's going to be incredibly valuable when we get to Smash Point on day number 3. DRX, so strong, so powerful, and finally able to get a win.
That was fourth in the first, third in the third, and second in the fourth, and a first in the fifth there for coming through from DRX. Hope you guys are following that. We certainly were here in the booth, but we are going to head to a quick break whilst we get ready for our final Miramar of the day. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.